My beloved child, when I stand beside you, the fire within your heart is no longer the fire of fear but the light that leads the way. Beneath the shield I raise over you, the scars upon your soul are transformed into seals, and the breath of peace becomes the very atmosphere you carry. I have not come to extinguish the fire but to let it be reborn, to become the flame of resurrection, illuminating your path and bringing light to places once shrouded in darkness. There are moments when you believe the fire within you has died, the call has fallen silent, and your vocation has been forgotten. Yet in that very moment I lay my hand upon your heart and breathe life once more into the flame of resurrection. This fire no longer consumes you but shines forth for many. I do not desire you merely to survive. I desire you to live in glory. You have been chosen not only to be saved but to become an instrument of light through whom heaven's splendor may pass to generations yet to come. I call you in the place where you believe your heart has grown cold. My voice is not thunderous, but it is strong enough to stir the depths of your soul. When you hear my voice, it is not the beginning but the return. A return to the sacred identity you bore before the world defined who you are. The fire within you is not to burn away the past but to illuminate the path I have set before you. In that light you will know you are not forgotten but chosen to bear the imprint of heaven. I see every hidden wound, every tear you have shed, and I say, none of this is in vain. Every wound I transform into a wellspring, every scar I engrave as a seal. In the very places where you were weak I will establish authority. When you stand within my peace, no roar can touch you. That peace will be your shield, stronger than any sword, and wherever you pass the atmosphere will shift, for my presence within you compels the darkness to retreat. My child, the fire I have placed within you is not only to light your way but to shine through generations. Every prayer you utter, every yes you whisper, opens the heavens for blessings to flow upon your lineage. Grace does not stop at one soul but spreads like a holy river, running through parents, children, and those you will encounter upon your journey. This is the glory that endures, glory that does not fade, for my fire never dies. When I call you by name, it is not merely a sound carried on the wind, it is heaven's confirmation that you belong to the kingdom of light. Your name does not drift aimlessly, it is engraved upon the palm of the Creator's hand. I, Michael, the Archangel, come, not only to protect but to remind you who placed his seal upon your forehead before you came into being. When I say you are chosen, it is not a privilege but an invitation to step into your true identity, where you are no longer merely a seeker of light but the bearer of it. Listen closely. My child, every soul that is chosen bears a mark. And that mark does not come from merit but from grace. Some will pass through your life without seeing or understanding, but heaven knows. As when Samuel sought the one to anoint, he beheld tall and mighty brothers, but the Lord said, man looks at the outward appearance, but I look at the heart. 1 Samuel 1:6-7. It was in humility and hidden faithfulness that David, a nameless shepherd, was called from the wilderness and received holy oil upon his head. So it is with you. What I see within you is not what the world measures but the light heaven sowed in you from the beginning. When you hear my call, do not fear. For it is not a summons to burden but an invitation into freedom. I do not place upon your shoulders the weight of the chosen but grant you the lightness of grace. To be chosen does not mean to be perfect, it means you are allowed to be loved, to be lifted, to be reshaped in my hands. When you let me touch you, every fragment becomes the material from which heaven forms a new vessel, more radiant, stronger, and more holy. I know there are times when you question your worth. You ask why me, what is special about me, and I smile. For it is precisely that humility which opens the door for heaven to act. In the book of Exodus, when Moses trembled before the burning bush, he said, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" Exodus 3:1-1. But God replied, "I will be with you." And that is what I say to you now, you do not walk alone. The seal upon you is the very presence of heaven. My child, the sacred seal is not a symbol to display, but the proof of an intimate bond between you and the Creator. When I look at you, I see on your forehead a light that does not fade. You are sealed so you cannot be lost in the crowd, so that even as you walk through storms, heaven recognizes you as one who belongs to the light. I, Michael the Archangel, stand at the boundary between heaven and earth to guard those who bear this seal. When you are weak, I cover you. When you fall, I lift you. When you are weary, I breathe new life into you so that the flame of resurrection within you does not wane. Do you remember the story of Esther, an orphan girl, hidden within the palace, yet chosen to deliver an entire people? Not because she held power, but because she carried within herself surrender and courage. When she stood trembling before the king, it was God who caused the king to look upon her with favor. This is the power of the chosen. No need to strive or clamor, for the heavens themselves move when they step into their place. So it is with you, child of light. When you stand in your true identity, the atmosphere around you shifts, for heaven knows one bearing the seal of Michael is present. Do not think you are chosen only to stand still. No, you are chosen to be sent. Just as the apostles were breathed upon by the Spirit and sent to the nations, you too carry a mission, perhaps small but carrying the weight of eternity. Every word you speak with sincerity, every act you perform in love is a ray of light cast into a shadowed world. The flame of resurrection within you does not merely warm, it illuminates. And where that light touches, darkness cannot remain. When you hesitate, remember this: I, Michael, the Archangel, never call anyone without granting the strength to go forth. I do not only protect you with a shield, but forge for you the sword of promise. Look at your hands, though they tremble, they are upheld by the strength of heaven. Walk not in fear, but in gratitude. For you do not go to prove anything. You go to reveal love. In prayer, when you feel your heart being gently stirred, it is not imagination, it is my seal awakening within you. Let it grow, for as your true identity is restored, everything around you will begin to change. Your voice will soften, your steps will grow steadier, and your presence will bring peace to others. This is the sign that you are walking in the identity of the chosen, and as you learn to stand in that identity, you will discover something profound. Glory does not come from what you have, but from knowing to whom you belong. When you know who you are in the eyes of heaven, no word from the world can shake you. I am here to remind you of this always. In the silence, I place my hand upon your head. Light spreads, gentle yet strong. I need not speak much, for your soul understands this is the hour of sealing. From now on, you are no longer merely a seeker, but one who is sent. That identity cannot be stolen, forgotten, or replaced. Within you, the flame of resurrection begins to burn, not fierce but enduring. It will guide you through the seasons of trial to come, where I will continue rename my work, turning wounds into seals and pain into the power to heal. O child, there are flames that do not come to consume but to rename. There are wounds that do not come to weaken you but to engrave upon you a holy seal, the mark of one who has passed through fire without being burned. When I look at you, I do not see fractures, I see doors through which grace may flow. And in every wound you once trembled to behold, I see the possibility of sanctification, where ashes may kindle into new light. I, Michael, the Archangel, do not come to erase what you have endured. I come to help you see the past through another light, for precisely where you have hurt, heaven has prepared a flame of renaming. This flame does not arise from vengeance or regret, but from mercy. It turns every ruin into a hidden gem, every cut into the sinew of strength. When you allow me to touch the places that once bled, the wound ceases to be a wound, it becomes a seal bearing the power of healing. Do you remember Jacob, O child? One night he wrestled with the angel until daybreak. Genesis 3:2-5:30. At dawn Jacob was struck upon the hip and limped for the rest of his life. Yet he was no longer Jacob. He was renamed Israel, which means one who has wrestled with God and prevailed. That wound upon his hip became the seal of a covenant, the sign of one who had touched heaven. This is your image, the one whose wounds are renamed. Jacob did not fail. It was through that pain that his name was etched into the history of heaven. Let me tell you this, God never wastes sorrow. Everything you have endured can become a flame of renaming if you offer it back to Him. When you look back with gratitude instead of bitterness, you will see heaven's hand quietly intervening, not to prevent but to shape. Every tear you have shed has been gathered into the vessel of grace, and on the day of resurrection those very tears will blossom into seeds of life. Hear me, O child. Healing does not come from forgetting, but from daring to look again with my light. Do not fear your memories. Let me walk with you upon the old roads. Where there was once darkness, I will kindle light. Where there was regret, I will sow wisdom. Every step you take across your old wounds, know that you tread upon holy ground, for there heaven once wept with you. Sometimes you think I have lost too much, but I tell you truly, you have not lost, you have been transformed. I rename suffering as glory, failure as witness, silence as authority. When that flame touches you, nothing in you remains as it was. Even the way you see yourself, the way you love, the way you pray, all is refined. Like golden fire, your soul is renewed. This fire does not harm, it only burns away what no longer belongs to the light. It is a gentle yet profound process. You will not recognize it at once, but day by day, hour by hour, light will take the place of darkness within you. When you forgive, the flame of renaming is at work. When you choose love over fear, the wound is sealed with power. I, Michael the Archangel, remain beside you in this journey. Every time you feel pain, remember my wings of fire cover you, not to shield you from every trial but to keep you from losing the light within the flame. That fire, O child, is the portion I send down from heaven to forge you into an instrument. It is holy, it is tender, it is strong. When you bear this seal within you, you will discover the one who has suffered most has the deepest capacity to love. For out of the place where you once bled now flows living water. you will see others no longer with eyes of judgment but with mercy. And that is the sign you have truly been renamed. In this light I see you, no longer one who flees the past but one who uses the past to illuminate the present. You stand firmer, quieter, yet with a strength the darkness dares not touch. For the one who has walked through fire and still carries light in their eyes is the one before whom hell must bow. When you enter prayer and if your soul trembles, let me remind you, do not fear, for I have redeemed you, I have called you by your name, you are mine. Isaiah 4:3-1. This word is the very source of the flame of renaming, the affirmation that you do not belong to the past but to the one who makes all things new. And O child, as you allow this fire to reach deeper, you will begin to feel something strange, power no longer in the cry but in peace. My fire does not need to blaze wildly to prove its strength, it burns steady, deep and unquenchable. In that silence I will teach you another lesson, about the authority of stillness, where peace becomes a weapon and your very presence is enough to make the darkness tremble. There are moments when true power does not come from speech but from presence. When I, Michael the Archangel, stand in the midst of battle, I need not swing my sword with noise, for my mere presence makes the darkness shudder. The silence of heaven is not weak but filled with power. It is the sound of order, the breath of eternity, the voice of the Creator spoken without words. You once thought authority came from assertion, but in truth authority comes from knowing to whom you belong. When you know you are in the light, you need not shout to prove it. Peace becomes a shield, stillness, a sword, and steadfast trust an invisible armor. In that quiet I teach you to hear deeper things, things the noise of the world cannot reach. There was a time when the prophet Elijah hid in a cave, his heart trembling with fear. He expected to hear God in the storm, the earthquake, and the fire. 1 Kings 1:9-11-12. But God was not in them, he came in a gentle whisper. In the moment Elijah was silent, he recognized the holy presence. Do you see, silence is not emptiness. It is where God speaks. I want you to understand there are battles that need not be fought, only stood through. When you stand in true peace, that is when I stand behind you, my sword already raised, and the darkness around you must retreat. You need not argue to defend yourself, the light within you will do so. The peace you carry is not the silence of avoidance but the peace of one who knows victory belongs to heaven. O child, let your soul learn silence. Silence is not the absence of sound but the rhythm of faith. When you choose not to answer hatred with hatred, not to respond to darkness with fear, in that moment you are fighting with the weapons of heaven. Every breath you hold in peace is an arrow of light released into a world full of noise. I, Michael the Archangel, have witnessed countless battles between light and darkness. I have seen fragile souls build walls with words, but only when they rested in silence and trust did I see true power revealed. For silence is not evasion but the stance of one anchored in divine will. When you are silent, you allow heaven to act on your behalf. Do you remember Jesus, when he stood before Pilate? He did not defend himself, did not cry out. His silence was stronger than every accusation. In that silence all of heaven trembled, for it was total surrender to the Father. And through that silence the cross became a throne. True authority does not lie in speaking but in yielding to the light, There are times when you want to resist to make yourself understood, but I say, step back, O child. Not because you are weak, but because I want you to see that silence is also a language, the language of one trained by heaven. When you are silent with faith, all of heaven acts with you. I will fight where you cannot see. I will speak when you need defense. And I will make your peace the proof of victory. The silence of the chosen is never empty. It holds the sounds of the heavenly, the beating of angels' wings, the echo of prayers, and the whisper of grace. As you walk in that silence, the world will not understand, but your soul will feel a new authority, one that does not come from confrontation but from abiding in the light. I want you to learn this: do not fear when the world does not understand your voice, for I understand. Do not rush to explain every misunderstanding, for heaven knows the truth. Guard your peace as a precious jewel. For when you lose your peace, you lose the shelter of the heavenly. Peace is the atmosphere of heaven, and I want you to dwell in it each day. There was a time in the war of heaven when I did not shout, did not rage. I only said, whoever belongs to God, stand with me. And the light divided the darkness. I teach you this so you may know you do not need a loud voice, only a clear presence. When you carry peace, I stand behind you, raising my shield of fire so that all powers may see and tremble. When you enter prayer and feel your heart grow still, that is when I am very near. I do not need many words from you. Let the silence between us become the language of trust. In that silence I will speak things words cannot reach. And then, O child, when your heart is steady as stone, when you know how to be silent without losing your fire, when you know how to be at peace without losing your zeal, then you are ready for the next step. For the one who knows how to be silent in God is also the one who knows how to act in the Spirit. Peace does not make you stand still, it makes you walk lightly yet deeply, like the footsteps of a messenger sent to set captives free. When the peace within you has become as firm as stone, it is time for me to blow the wind across the field so that you may step out. Peace is not a place to stop, but the ground from which your mission begins. The one who is chosen does not keep the fire hidden in their heart, they carry it into the world so that the light may touch the places yet untouched, so that freedom may reach the soul still sleeping in fear. I, Archangel Michael, say to you, now is the time for you to walk. Not with hurried steps, but with a rhythm that is guided. For every place you set your foot, the atmosphere changes, not because of the words you speak, but because of the presence you bring. Each word you utter, if spoken in love and grace, will resonate to the very soul of the listener. There are rooms, my child, that have long been without light. You are sent not to judge, but to open the door. There are hearts locked shut from old wounds. You are sent not to persuade but to be present, as I once stood beside you in the long nights when you thought you were abandoned. It is the presence of light that frees, not argument. Do you remember the story in the Acts of the Apostles when Paul and Silas were imprisoned in the deepest cell? Acts 1:6, 2, 5, 26. They did not complain, they sang hymns. And as their song rose, the prison doors burst open, and the chains fell off. This world too is waiting for such songs, souls who know how to sing in the night, who know how to shine when surrounded. That is the urgent call I place upon you, to bring heaven's freedom into the prisons of earth. Understand this: every step you take is not just movement but a declaration of heaven. When you walk in faith, the space around you is restructured. When you pray the wind shifts, when you forgive old gates swing open. And when you say yes all of heaven echoes go. The fire within you now no longer shines only for you, it has begun to touch your surroundings, where you work, where you live, where you love. All are soil for the kingdom. You do not need to go far away to fulfill your mission. As long as you walk rightly in peace, each step you take is already a sacred invasion. I am with you in each of those steps, gentle yet firm, silent yet resounding. My child, do not wait until everything is perfect before you begin. Light does not require perfect peace but a heart ready with faith. Each time you dare to step beyond the familiar, the fire within you blazes anew. And I, Archangel Michael, will go before you, clearing the path, preparing the way. Every door shut by fear will open, for the light of heaven does not ask permission to pass, it simply appears. Never forget, liberation is not only an outward act but an inward flow. When you are freed from resentment, you are freeing yourself. When you look upon another with kindness, you are breaking the prison of your own heart. And when you pray for the one who hurt you, that is when the invisible chains of this world are shattered. I want you to understand this, my child. Every step you take in love is a proclamation that heaven has triumphed. Do not measure the results, trust in the invisible influence that light leaves behind. Sometimes you will not see it, but in the places you pass through, the seeds of grace have been planted. Each gentle glance, each small act of forgiveness, each silent prayer, these are forming a chain reaction of heaven reaching farther than you imagine. And when you are weary, pause and take a deep breath. I am there right beside you. Peace still surrounds you. Do not doubt when results do not appear immediately. Trust that every movement in light carries the power to set free. Just as when Jesus stepped into the room of the paralyzed man and simply said, "Rise, take up your mat and walk," Mark 2:11, one sentence, no shouting, no dramatic miracle, and yet the power shook the city. Do you see, my child? Strength does not lie in the magnitude of action but in the purity of the spirit within the step. Therefore, walk. Walk as one who brings good news. Walk as one who knows they are sent. Walk as one who does not need to win by words but carries victory in presence. With each step you take, darkness retreats. Wherever you go, the atmosphere shifts, and every word you speak, if spoken in light, will sow life. My child, this is the moment I call now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel strong enough, but now, for the peace within you has ripened into motion. Do not hesitate, do not wait for another to begin. Go, for your very step is the signal for heaven to act. And when you have learned to walk through the world without belonging to it, you will see wherever the light is sown, blessing begins to sprout. From those steps I will open a deeper layer, where blessing does not stop with you, but flows through your lineage, for true light never remains in one generation. It is born to be passed on, to make the glory of heaven an inheritance for the chosen lineage. Beloved child, when you have learned to stand firm in the light, I want you to grasp a deeper mystery: that light does not end with you. From the moment the fire is rekindled, glory begins to flow in a long stream beyond time, beyond generations, reaching your children and even those you have never met. This is the current of generational blessing, the inheritance heaven writes with fire, unfading, unspent, unextinguished. I, Archangel Michael, see within the veins of your soul not only your own imprint but the echo of ancient prayers. There are words your parents, your grandparents, your ancestors once whispered to God in tears, thinking they had vanished into nothing, but no, heaven kept them, and now in you those prayers are being fulfilled. You are the answer heaven sends back to your lineage. There is one thing I want you to remember: every chosen soul is a link in God's restoration plan. No one is saved for themselves alone. Salvation is a chain from Abraham to David, from David to Jesus. Blessing never breaks. You are chosen not only to heal yourself but to open the way for the next generation to walk free. Remember the story of Ruth, the strange Moabite woman, Ruth 1:4. She was not of Israel, bore no holy blood, yet she chose loyalty to Naomi, chose to walk in light even without seeing the road. And from that faithfulness God built a lineage. Ruth bore Obed, Obed begot Jesse, Jesse begot David, the king from whose line the Savior was born. Do you see, my child? One act of faithfulness can open the genealogy of glory. You are not living only for the present, you are writing heaven's story into your own bloodline, and there I am with you. When you forgive, I see blessing flowing backward, cleansing the memories rooted in your family line. When you pray, I see heaven recording each word in the book of inheritance, so that your life, your children's lives, and those after them will partake of it. When you live in light, I see your roots being restored, what was taken from previous generations slowly being returned, not in material form but in sacred gifts, kindness, wisdom, faith, and unshakable peace. My child, believe that blessing passes not only through blood but through spirit. When you open your mouth to bless, you are pouring a river of light into the future itself. There are children you have not yet birthed whose souls are already covered by today's prayers. There are people who do not yet know your name who will be saved by the light you are kindling. This is the expansion of a spiritual lineage not limited by blood but by love, the hereditary love of heaven. I, Archangel Michael, witness this each day. When you choose gentleness over anger, you are changing the course of an invisible river in the spiritual world. When you bow your head in prayer at night, you are not fighting only for yourself but for those who never knew someone stood in the gap for them. And I, Michael, stand beside you, raising the shield of light so that this flow will not be hindered. Do you know why heaven entrusts you with this role? Because you have walked through fire without losing compassion. You have been wounded yet still chosen love. And this is the proof: the fire within you has become inheritance. It is no longer a feeling but a sacred bloodline flowing without ceasing. And then, my child, when you look around, you will see the ones you love, the ones you once prayed for, the ones you have never met. All are now enveloped in the same atmosphere, the atmosphere of generational blessing. Every generation has someone called to rise, to close old doors and open new ones. You are that one for your lineage. You are the bridge between past and future, between pain and restoration, between the fire of trial and the light of glory. The steadfast love of the Lord rests forever on the descendants of the righteous. Psalm 103:17. This is not only a promise, it is the reality you are living. Each time you choose light, that blessing extends another generation. Each time you lift your head, darkness retreats another century. I am here, Michael, Archangel of the Covenant, guardian of chosen lineages. I protect not only you but also the blessing around your blood, your prayers, your unspoken dreams. Every breath you pray in light becomes a bead on the crown of future generations. When the fire of resurrection in you becomes the fire of legacy, you need do nothing more, only to live, to be present, to love. For everything you do in light is inscribed in the memory of eternity. When you leave this world, you do not disappear, you are passed on. When you close your eyes, the light does not go out, it is simply transferred. And your descendants, even if they forget your words, will live in the blessing you have sown. My child, this is the hour when glory becomes inheritance. And I, Michael, will stand by you until your entire lineage shines like the sky after the storm, where the fire no longer burns but illuminates the way. Now I bless you. May the fire of resurrection within you burn steadfastly. May heaven's peace become the atmosphere surrounding your life. May your prayers become the arm that opens doors for other souls. Live lightly, step deeply, love steadfastly, and believe firmly. For from this moment you are no longer merely the bearer of fire, you are the fire itself. The fire of love, the fire of resurrection, the fire of eternal glory. I am here, not ahead, not behind, but right beside you. And as you walk, the light will walk with you. For within you heaven has been ignited. Thank you for listening. Subscribe and turn on notifications to journey with Archangel Michael and spread God's light every day.